chair. And who will be monitoring? You will be there doing that. And we can see people there today or not?
No, not people.
No, not people.
Only commands.
But people can see us, right? Okay. All right. So here. Okay. So it's almost time, right?
So
2
we
minutes.
start? Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's just start now. Let's see if people are there. You can always talk later. That's okay. We can again see things here, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello. I see some people online. Can you guys hear me?
I think it's because it's not 5 yet.
Okay, but there are at least 6 people watching.
Yeah, they must only be
Yeah,
having
yeah.
the screen.
Yeah, that's also correct. We'll wait for them. Now 7. Yes, Nitish Kumar. Can you can hear me, right? So we are making this attempt for you. We cannot have the video here to see.
No, it will come.
Yeah, let's keep the video here.
It will come.
Okay. And where can I see the writing part?
Yes.
This video cannot come here?
It will come.
Okay. Let's bring the video here.
1 minute.
Wait a minute. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let me check here something. Good. Oh, so there is again time gap. Something else. There is time gap, right? So now it seems like there are a lot of people, but we don't see any question. Yes, I'll talk about that. Uh, as you know, this is a course on language and mind, and this is one of the most fertile area of research in 21st century. People have always made an attempt to understand how human mind functions from a variety of disciplines. In fact, the functioning of human mind has been a matter of curiosity for many researchers from various different disciplines. Lot of attempts have been made from biology, sociology, philosophy, mathematics, and now we even look at parallel between music and language in order for us to understand the relationship between the functioning of human mind. So uh, the one of the things that people want to understand is how is how how does human mind work in um, um, how does the what's the role of biology in really in understanding the functioning of human mind? Most of the attempts that have been made so far uh, talk about functions of neurons in human mind. However, what we see bringing in results and what we see people understanding human mind better is the approach from the study of language, and therefore a course like this on language and human mind. Uh, the scope of research is not limited to particular disciplines, and two very specific areas where we see applications of our understanding in the domains of research in uh, uh, language and mind are uh, computer applications, applications for understanding disabilities, and eventually language teaching. To be really precise, and I'll briefly underline the role of this kind of research, and also the role of our approach in understanding the relationship between language and mind for with its applicational value. Um, with the speed of computer applications and the functioning of machines, uh, one of the goals in modern time is to come up with a machine which functions the way human mind does. Let's very briefly look at how human mind functions. One of the things that it demonstrates is it functions with multiple layers. Multiplicity of functions is a unique is unique to human mind, is unique to its nature. Therefore, the translatable goal is to come up with a design which helps machines function with multiplicity, so that it can perform multiple tasks. One can probably say that machines do function reasonably well when it has to take care of multiple tasks at this time, that is in 21st century. However, the goal is still far from where we are. The actual goal is to make machines to help machines make decision for itself, not only enable them to communicate with one another using artificial language, using programming language, which we do not see machines performing at this stage. We can say something, and machines do understand with its limited capacity. We can use it for translations. We do know about human voice signals getting converted into electrical signals, and then machines' ability to communicate with the others and transport information. And that is one of the most striking developments of the modern time in the field of information technology, and this is how information has been revolutionized. There is hardly a domain of our lives in the modern time which has not been touched upon by the computer applications, and which comes from which has benefited from our understanding of how human mind functions. I'll add, and if you have gone through the videos assigned for this week thus far, you would see that in a systematic way we have tried to explain uh, how our understanding of human language helps us understand the functioning of human mind. So that's one field. The other one is the other one is um, its applications for learning language. Um, the use of computer tools have not only helped people at large, but it has capability to help people who suffer from some sort of disabilities as well. So there are several applications, several domains of research which help us understand, and where the things that we are talking about in this course is going to be helpful. I assume now there are at least 15-20 people watching. I assume you are enrolled in this course, and I'll be happy to answer specific questions if you have about this course. This course is not really directed towards helping you avoid hesitation for group discussions or Skype interview, or for that matter any particular type of interview. So it's a different kind of course where we need to we spend our time learning how human mind works vis-a-vis language.
There might be some questions here.
This one in the spreadsheet, yeah.
Is that no.
No, it's PowerPoint. They have sent me some questions. That's what I'm trying to locate. Not here. I'm unable to find out. Do you guys have any questions about the videos that you have watched so far? Okay. I see this. Sai Kalyan, your question is about language and thought. Uh, it's a paradigm question in the field of language and cognition. Uh, which do you think originated first, language or thought? Can we think without language? you may need to extend this question a little further. uh, can we do things without language? There is an approach which shows that our understanding of the world around may develop to some extent, at least, if not to a great extent, uh, without language. And the strongest piece of evidence comes from child learning language, where children do show some of the things that they perform that they could have performed uh, without language as well. That is, language may not have developed fully by that time, and they still perform those things, such as um, such as learning to cry, and various innovative methods of attracting attention, showing reflecting several emotions. However, there is still a position that is maintained by a Whorfian hypothesis, where the claim is language, the language that we speak and the structure of that language is what shapes our worldview, and what shapes our what that language shapes is how we perceive the world. So these are the two different positions on language and thought. Which one originated first is what is more important is, can we think without language? And in response to this is what I have discussed with you. In later weeks to come, I hope you will find a video on it which explains the relationship between language and thought. I hope this is helpful to you. So, so once again, I will ask this question to you. Do you guys have specific questions about uh, the videos that you have seen so far? Videos that are assigned for until this week for this course on language and mind. people, if they have a spreadsheet with them,
Okay.
and if there is specific questions in that, can they post it in the
Okay.
in this forum? Then I'll get these people are sitting somewhere here. Whether language is better for gaining knowledge. Um, Hard to answer this question. I'll put this question and a response to this shortly. Here is how I'll put the response. See, language is the medium for construction and dissemination of all kinds of knowledge. All kinds of construction of knowledge takes place through language, and dissemination of knowledge as well works through language.
So apparently, they haven't collected questions for this.
Okay.
One Bharati was talking about was related to the other course.
Oh, okay. I see. That's okay.
You can remove it.
I'm not sure if this will remove the user or the
No, just the comment.
just the comment.
What's this question?
The language, yeah, that's where I was discussing. Vishwaranjan Sahu, whether language plays important role in written form and during speaking. Don't quite understand your question, but writing, practicing. If you practice writing, that definitely has a role to play in speaking English, in speaking any language. It helps you build structure and vocabulary both at the same time. It helps you make sense of the world through that language. It enables you to construct knowledge through that language, and therefore dissemination, which is speaking, becomes easier, and it will definitely help. Hope this is helpful. there is no specific way of memorizing vocabulary. Uh, when you put words to use, they stay with you, and then you internalize those words through practice. That is the method which works for building vocabulary in a new language that you learn. However, as far as this course is concerned, this will also help you understand that human learning system, that is learning of human language, does not necessarily depend on memorizing in individual words. What we acquire is the capability to make a new word. What we deduct is the capacity of abstraction, and then we put the same capacity, same rules to computation, and therefore we get more words. So in short, basically we learn to make words. We don't really memorize words, but this applies to first language. As far as the second language learning is concerned, that is at a later stage, you do not need to memorize words even in that case. What you will need to do is to use the words several times through writing and bring them in the use. They will stay with you. Hope that helps. We choose to discuss about language and mind is because this course is about language and mind, and how are these two related? It is related to each other in a big way, in the sense that all operations related to language, that is the learning of language and use of language, take place in human mind. It is our capacity that we are born with as a child helps us learn language from our immediate society. This is why we are talking about language and mind, and this is the relationship between language and mind.
So, what about the role of mental lexicon in the process of storing words and mapping meanings?
That's a much advanced phenomena which we have not discussed in this course.
Also, you've described the Chomsky House of Edge reading, right?
In this one?
Yeah, I saw the
Is it
reading
there?
list.
Okay. I'll talk about that to them. Corrected, speak fluent English. Vivek Kishore, I understand your question about fluency in English and how we use English. Your capability to think and convert your thinking mechanism completely in English is not under your control totally. This becomes apparent when you look at the process of acquisition of language, and also the process of the content that we acquire, and then we understand that neither does the mechanism nor none of the two is basically relevant for learning. What happens in learning is human mind abstracts through a very abstract process, can deduct rules and put them to use.
Do we use language to think?
Yeah, we do. But
Not on
translation is asking about how do I think
Yeah, yeah.
completely. Does it work that way? So,
So Pinker writes that we don't use language to think.
really, we will talk about that. How do children acquire language? There is a complete section on this, Sandeep Suman, in this course. Children are born with the capability to learn language, which becomes apparent in the sense that we do not really control or decide whether we are going to learn a language or not. Every normal human child will end up speaking a language at the end of 3 to 4 years. Also, children learn language through with the help of input from immediate society. So, the language that is spoken around little children when they are growing up does have a role to play in learning of language. That's how basically language learning works, and eventually it translates everything. It builds what we know as knowledge of language. Helen R. The connection between language and mind is that there is a relationship between language and mind, and the relationship is all abstract rules of language from that we from we extract rules of language in very abstract form from the input that children receive from their immediate society, that is from the language that is spoken around them, and the processing of these rules, these abstraction at a later stage takes place in human mind with the help of what is known as language acquisition device. And this is the relationship between language and human mind. There are several books about language and mind, and in particular, uh, the book that we have prescribed um, on for this online for this course is Language Instinct by Steve Pinker, and then there are the other book is How Human Mind Works, uh, Language and Mind itself by Noam Chomsky, and then Patterns in Mind by Jack Andoff, where he talks about all uh, circumstances of language learning. And finally, from the language side, there is a book by Lillian Higman which describes its internal structure in terms of its functioning in human mind. We have a list of some of these books in the syllabus on the course. Writing in English is easy and speaking is tough. This is related to second language acquisition. When we learn to speak a new language at a later stage in our life, that is post 14 or 15 years, our access to universal grammar, uh, that is the access of language acquisition device to universal grammar, becomes weaker. Therefore speaking is tough. Therefore the ability to speak uh, fades away, whereas writing is not a problem, because writing is like learning a new skill, like cycling, swimming, and or dancing. Therefore it's easy to learn writing in any language at any stage in time. However, it is tough to talk about, tough to learn to speak. How is information encoded by neurons? The answer is pretty simple. For that is, there is a set of designated neurons in human mind out of millions of neurons. The hypothesis is there is a set of neurons which is designated for the function of language, and that is how uh, within that set, the particular set of neuron works for uh, specific activities with regard to language. I really do not know the answer to the question why we sleep and dream. That's the question of abnormal psychology. That is, the question related to dream is part of abnormal psychology, and I really don't know what to tell you about why we dream. Why we sleep is probably biological process, and again I won't have a technical answer to this question. Have you guys watched all the videos assigned for this course until this point? Sandeep Suman, your question is not clear. Is a part of brain. Question is a part.
As in this question, sleep and dream, it's a
Hmm.
part of brain. And
Oh.
he's assuming that since it's also about the mind,
What did someone ask you? What was the original question that someone asked you? Ask me that question. Why English is an international language? When there are a lot of languages spoken in the world? Of course, there are a lot of languages spoken in the world. Lot of languages are spoken around you. English is spoken by a lot of people, and the reason why it is spoken by a lot of people is because it's because of its flexibility, because of its nature of accommodation. And then eventually it become when a language is used by lot of other people, that is more number of people, um, uh, by more number of people elsewhere, then this it is natural for us to call English as an international language. However, there is no such claim as such about English. Vivek Kishore, your question is about, I'm not trying to avoid your question. Your question is about um, the use of you are welcome after thank you, and it's a generic default answer, but then there are several other things that you can say as well according to situation. Is there anything else that I should talk to them in general about this? I don't know until they ask any question. I don't know what else they need to know.
do you have any lectures on distinguishing between language and, mind and brain?
No. There is a lecture on aphasia, disability, but not specifically on mind and brain. That's a relevant question for us. I don't understand why. I don't know what an answer. What's the advantage of any answer around that?
No, establishing what point linguistics is taking when they talk about the mind.
What do you want an example of, Vivek Kishore? Oh, I see. You are asking for an example of something else instead of you are welcome. You see, you are welcome as an expression is basically an agreement um, with the speaker, with someone who said thank you. So that's one natural logical answer. The other examples could be uh, uh, it it is nice to hear about this, and it depends on your ability and specific situation in that particular time. Very important question. How are memories stored and retrieved?
It's more it's a question relating to cognitive science, right?
Memory is a specific cognitive ability, and storing is also part of memory. Language is only a medium for that. I will need to look at it before I post an answer to this question about memories and its retrieval using language. That is the relationship between language and memories in terms of in the domain of cognitive science is something that I'll need to look at to answer this question. We will be doing a live session on this course time to time, particularly when you have looked at some of the structural descriptions of the sentences that are going to come up in this course, and we'll come back to do a live session again. So I'll try to post an answer to this question about memory shortly. However, if we do not get to this, please do ask us this question again when we come back for the next session, which will happen soon. Question about memory and story. We'll read something about it. Good question.
Somebody's at the door.
That's all right. Do they want us to stop? Checking out. Do you want us to stop?
No, so still we have time.
Really? We'll just wait for a few more minutes and see. So just a few generic things for the people who are still watching and who are still waiting for their numbers, for their questions. Uh, please do look at please do watch these videos regularly that are assigned for this. Try to answer uh, uh, questions which are posted as part of assignment for this course on weekly basis. Most of those questions that are given to you as an assignment on weekly basis are based on the videos assigned for that specific week. And this is how this course builds towards the end in order to develop an understanding on language and mind. And particularly the relationship between the language and mind. When you watch these videos and things that do not make sense right away, please take a note of those questions and put them in forum. One of us will answer these questions time to time, and definitely when you have a note of these questions, you can bring those questions back again for us to answer. Anything else, guys? We see some people are still sitting quiet, idle, watching. If there are specific questions, please ask. Well, in that case, thank you so much for coming all the way, and we will get back to this live session once again, and we'll try to bring this session couple of times for you to find an opportunity to ask questions about this course on language and mind. Thank you so much for watching and participating. Okay. There are very few people in this. We still need 1 hour. Okay.